Good morning. This is White Witch 110. That noise you're hearing is rain. Look at it coming down. I don't know if you can see it. We got here just in time. There. The wind was pretty fierce just a couple of seconds ago. Okay. Look at that. Leaves flying all over the... We really needed this. We really needed this. You know what? I don't think our raincoats are going to help us if it keeps up like... Well, I mean, I hope it keeps up like this. Because we really, really need it. But I love listening to it on the glass here. The only thing is, this is when you find out where all the leaks are in the roof. Yeah. Oh, the security guard didn't get over to the tower yet. Looks good. Can you hear that? That is the rain. I don't know if you can see it coming down. There we go. Oh man, this feels good. I'd hate to be up doing this. I don't know if you see it on the construction trailer. Bouncing. They're supposed to have rain for 3 days. I'm just hoping it stays like this. Hello. Catch you guys later. Hello everyone, White Witch 110. Almost feels like we have a storm brewing. Oh, a little bit of lightning in the sky. Let's see. We've been hearing thunder for a bit now. We had some real torrential rain come down once we got home. And then the sun came out. So we're learning not to get too excited when we see skies like this. Because 10 to 1, nothing will come of it. There's some flashes. But again, if it's brewing, it's not going to make its appearance here. Someone else is going to end up with it. Seagull. Sky. That's actually part of my story this evening, called The Noise. I've heard the stories on television, paranormal programs featuring the phenomena. It was something that fascinated me but scared me at the same time. The closest I ever thought I would come to it was 5 years ago. It was a summer evening. We sat in the living room watching television with the balcony door open. It was around 9 p.m. when a loud bass bang echoed outside. Quickly, we ran out onto the balcony to scan the neighborhood. The sky was still dark. We waited to hear fire trucks, but nothing came. I stood for minutes waiting, but nothing came. We made our way back inside and went to bed. The following morning, the entire office was abuzz about the big bang the night before. It was a comfort to realize they all had the same question. What the hell was that? The news stations were slow to report an answer. By the evening, little more was known. We were told there were noises. We were told there were noises which emanated from the water. We learned people had seen lights. Footage from the site showed police in wetsuits in the river with probes. The last information shared was that there was something under the water. It was not a plane, as there were none reported on that flight path. The summer progressed to fall, and we all put it behind us. In early fall, Oscar and I took a walk along the river. We soon found ourselves at the spot in question. The water was low as we made our way slowly to the small island. Watching our step, we kept tabs on the level. Reaching the rocks, we made our way to the other side. I personally began to feel uncomfortable. I put this down to knowing this was the spot. Shortly after being there, Oscar wanted to leave. We made our way back. For the remainder of the day, we could not shake the feeling of being watched. This isn't the subject that I began with, but leads you to it. Sometime later, Oscar and I were relaxing in our living room with the window slightly open. It began as a low hum. As the evening progressed, so did the sound. This went on for an hour. A couple of days later, the sound seemed to come out of nowhere. It was as loud and sounded mechanical. Oscar and I looked at each other, then went out on the balcony. We didn't need to speak. Our faces said it all. The sound appeared to descend from the sky. Ooh, that was a lightning. We had watched the programs together. We knew the sounds have not been explained. I will try to describe it. It was familiar sound, but not. Steel on steel, being scraped against each other. Neighbors were on their verandas and others on their balconies. This noise went on for 20 minutes. At the end, we finally took a breath, standing there waiting. Of course, I'm going to turn you around this way so you can see it. And I'll continue to read. Okay. Of course, there were no other sounds. Needless to say, this memory has never left me. 3 years later, Oscar and I moved to another location away from the city. We were surrounded by trees and a small creek. It was peaceful. 2 weeks in, we began to hear noises in the woods. These noises turned to voices over time. Suddenly, this move didn't feel like it was the best thing to have done. Just moving my hand here. Memories of our experience in the city came to the front. We didn't want to hear that sound again. Oscar had been asking me to go camping. I stood fast in my belief we shouldn't. I reminded him of the voices we had heard. He didn't seem bothered by them. I reluctantly agreed after many evenings of his convincing. We set up the tent not far from the house. This gave me a slight sense of comfort. As the sun set, fear crept into my thoughts. Crawling under the light cover in the tent, we weren't sure how long we had slept when it all began. Oscar woke to a rustling outside. He let me sleep while he investigated. This story should be more spooky. I'm getting distracted here. Oops. A feather. Thank you, my pidgeys. Sorry. I'll have to put that in here. Okay. He found nothing and settled back into sleep. Shortly after it started, there was no soft beginning this time. We jumped up, startled, unable to believe what we were hearing. It was happening again. Oscar made his way out. I followed. Loud as ever, it rang through the air. The identical metal sound we heard in the city. Where is it coming from? I continued to question and had no answer. Is this what other people experience? Back home, we began talking about it. One thought was a recording being played randomly on loudspeakers. The sound is so familiar. This had to be a combined effort worldwide by a group of people. Thinking this eased my mind somewhat. The noises were so much like everyday things I've heard. The sound of the snowplow scraping the sidewalk. Then the sound of brakes without rubber. I'm sure if this was heard in the situations we are used to, no one would be afraid. It's only because it's not a usual setting that we are. I am adamant that this can't be anything but human-made. I express my concern of the repeat performance. What were the chances of hearing this more than once? Had this happened to others? We had never seen a report that it had. This was all too much for me. I know. My dreams were soon consumed with the unworldly scrape. I'd sit straight up in bed in a panic. Oscar realized this wasn't healthy for either of us. We left the country house for the city, but in the city things got no better. The hum we experienced the first evening became a regular thing. The entire house would vibrate. I had visions of War of the Worlds. The aliens were laying dormant, awaiting word from the mothership. I told myself this really wasn't the case. It got to a point I would have rather been chased by a Bigfoot than continue to experience this sound. As months passed, so did the horrible noise. An air raid horn could also describe it. Oscar and I can still be brought to goosebumps by anything close to what we heard. To this day, we continue, as all others, to wonder what and why of the noise from above. Thinking of my reasoning long ago brings small slices of protection to my thoughts. What would your reaction have been? What would you have done? When you're alone and a humming begins, go outside and listen. What do you hear? Have a great rest of the evening, my friends. Thank you for coming by to listen to my story and to enjoy the thunder and lightning. To my YouTube family, as always, much love. To anyone stopping by, please check out my other videos. You may find something of interest. And if you do, please consider a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. I will get back to you. Share any of my videos out that you'd like to. Much appreciated. While you're here, consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, consider clicking the notification bell so that you will know the next time that I upload. Amazing sky. I did ask for wind and rain. You can see off in the distance, off those buildings, the sun. Once again, not the amount of rain that we wanted. For as long as we need it, it keeps eluding us. Strange. I will see if we get another lightning strike. That just looks so weird. That white patch right there. Maybe no more. The sun's coming behind it. Maybe there's more behind the sun. You never know. Impatient. Wow. That really looks bizarre. Bring to me the wind and rain, so we no longer feel the heat, the pain. As always, my friends, ciao for now.